Hopefully it goes well today. Nervous. We decide if we're going to continue or cancel. So, day 9. So it's really interesting because things didn't really go well on day 9. I know I was really upbeat on day 7 when I went in for my second ultrasound. And this third ultrasound was a little bit strange because my lining endometrium thickness was actually a 7.2. So I don't know if the other sonographer measured it incorrectly on Saturday because it was at an 11. I'm sorry, it was at a 9, I believe. So that's very interesting. And then the follicles, I still remained with a dominant follicle, but the stronger ones I had, like the 11 millimeter one, all those shrunk. And so I ended up with an average of a 17.9 millimeters, a 9.4 millimeters, and an 8.2 millimeter, and then a 6.7 millimeter, and a 5.8 millimeter. So yeah, it was difficult news, obviously, as you guys can imagine. Spent roughly about $6,000 on medications and only had one dominant follicle. So it's it's tough because you're trying to kind of make sense of everything. So at this point, I know from having reviewed many other people that the cycle is actually going to be canceled, and most likely converted into an IUI. So I think that's going to be the plan. I'm going to see if I can talk to the doctor because now I feel like I should proceed with probably proceed with another protocol, but I've been reading a lot about the mini IVF protocol, which seems to suggest that you stimulate lightly. And for me, the reason why I want to look into that as a next step with my doctor is because when I was doing my IUIs, even though the IUIs did not work, I was able to produce more dominant follicles. So out of my 5, for example, or out of 3, I would have 2 that would be closely. So my last 3 UIs actually proved that. So at least then I had 2 dominant. And if you have 2, maybe you can ask for an IVF to happen. You know what I mean? And that's a plane flying. Yeah, so lots to think about. I gotta look into that. I gotta ask if the doctor can do different types of protocols. But yeah, so that was the end of it. It wasn't the IVF itself wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. In terms of doing it, the medications were definitely a lot because I was on the highest dose. But in terms of the quick turnover, it wasn't as bad as I thought. But there is such a case as poor response, and so what I like to do is kind of like I like to be kind of like ahead of the game, like think ahead of the game, and kind of think about what's coming, what's next steps. It kind of keeps me sane through this whole process, is working it out that way. So all right, so we'll see what will happen. So next step is I'm going to talk to the doctor and then continue my research on different protocols with the focus on what I've been reading about, which is mini IVF. Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye.